If you close your eyes and picture a mental image of Iowa, this is likely not what comes to mind. A massive underground cave system stretching for miles underneath the karst topography of northeast Iowa.
Coldwater Cave is kind of a cave in a class by itself. You don't find things like this in Iowa, especially underneath a cornfield or a pasture. You just don't expect to see it. Size-wise, it's so huge. Main passage is so big and large. It's like a subway tunnel. Most Iowa caves are small, wet, muddy, and not really pleasant.
Despite its size, the conditions and means of descending into Coldwater Cave are not for the casual tourist. The crew of Iowa Outdoors met up with members of the Iowa Grotto, a seasoned group of cavers intent on safely sharing the subterranean wonders of our state. Tucked inside a modest shed and bunkhouse rests the main human-built entrance to Coldwater. A metal tube and ladder descending 100 feet into the darkness below.
Next bag!
After lowering our television gear to a platform at the base of the ladder, it's time for my first journey under Iowa's surface. I'm thinking, don't miss a step. Make sure there's something below my foot every time I put the weight on it, and it should be fine. When you finally get down here, there's a little bit of relief. Double check that the ground's there. And then it was great. I had a nice private moment just kind of coming over here, and it was completely dark. I couldn't see anything. And I just pressed the button on my headlamp, and all of a sudden it just seemed to go forever. And it was this beautiful, like, awe-inspiring moment, just really very, very humbling. Can't wait to go down there and see what else is there. The absolute awe of an alien environment is nearly as eye-opening as the water temperature, hence its name. Coldwater Cave resembles an Iowa stream with water levels that fluctuate due to rainfall or snowmelt that eventually dumps into the nearby Coldwater Creek. Our journey, planned for the frigid winter days of February, came amidst an untimely thaw, raising the water level to our waistlines and pumping icy snowmelt beneath the topsoil and through the cave.
We have a spotless, actually, safety record. We've had just very few minor injuries over the years. We watch the weather. Just like today, we're not taking you in very deep. Chances of spring runoff, water levels coming up. Water temperature, air temperature, you've noticed even some of you are starting to feel early effects of hypothermia. Basic caving requires a hard hat and at least 3 light sources. Here we go to a wetsuit.
Those wetsuits help by creating a thin barrier of body heat and warmer water next to the skin. But our guides pegged the day's water temperature near 37 degrees, with air temperature at a balmy 47. We head upstream to higher ground, and I realize that safely traveling a small section of this cave takes time and patience.
This is a beautiful area, but you also got to realize you can get a long ways into this cave, have a problem, and it can get very serious. I think you've all noticed just getting back out of here if you had somebody injured would be a major undertaking. So we've always stressed safety up here, and we will continue to.
If you can safely navigate cold water, slippery rocks, and icy water flow, you'll discover some spectacular scenery. A mix of formations dot the landscape, many of which were developed by mineral-laden water over thousands of years. Some descend as stalactites from the ceiling or stalagmites from the cave floor, while newer formations like these soda straws are just beginning to take shape.
The earliest sediments that have been dated in the cave are around 250,000 years old. Scientists would consider this a fairly young cave, just based on a variety of technical indicators.
This is the best place in Coldwater Cave to view fossils. These are crinoids, also known as sea lilies. They're more than 450 million years old.
There are some pretty spectacular crinoid beds here in the cave. Basically, it's a case where a slab from the ceiling peeled off the ceiling and ended up on the floor, and now we're able to walk on top of that slab. Crinoids we know today as sea lilies in the oceans of the world.
From fossils to flowstone, Coldwater Cave can present a variety of photographic opportunities.
I've seen probably 8-9 miles of the whole thing on photography trips through the years.
Scott Dankoff has photographed Iowa's tunnels and caves for nearly 20 years. But some of his best work originates from the crown jewel of Iowa's underground environment, Coldwater.
Lighting's the biggest issue in this cave. The walls, depending on where you're at in the cave, dark colors eat your light. The water eats your light. You have to use larger flashes, carry more gear. Everything has to be in waterproof boxes. Large passages like we're in now, not a big deal. Carry a tripod and a pelican box is what we use most of the time. Get into small passages, hands and knees, in the water, crawling, it's a whole different thing.
To date, explorers have discovered nearly 20 miles of winding passages at Coldwater Cave. It's a journey that began more than 40 years ago. Discovered in the 1960s by a trio of divers near Coldwater Creek, the cave captured the attention of Iowans and state government. Local farmers Ken and Wanda Flatland had suffered numerous sinkholes on their land and heard stories of other farmers that had lost livestock down mysterious holes. Experts later discovered Coldwater Cave ran directly underneath a section of the Flatland farm. With financial backing from the state legislature, the Iowa Geological Survey drilled a 94-foot hole for visitors to descend into the largest known cave system in the upper Midwest. But state officials quickly discovered it was not a casual tourist destination and scrapped plans for lighted concrete walkways. The raw nature of Coldwater Cave has kept spelunkers coming back time and time again. Divers say the network of passages will still be here long after they're gone, but concede the cave faces challenges from human contact and runoff from farm fertilizers.
So you think, we're an ag country, we're not too far from a college town, but you are truly in a wilderness, where once you enter the cave and travel for some time, you can be 2 or 3 miles from the nearest exit, which, from the definition of wilderness, it certainly is.
It's the ultimate Iowa outdoors.
In a way it is.
Yeah.
A bit underground, but yeah.
It is.